How you guys?
Doing well. If you want to introduce yourself, I'll tell you who all you're talking to up here today.
Okay. Well, my name is Jordan Mobley Duckworth. I'm from the area. And I guess I don't even know what to say.
But no, that's plenty. We just want to be sure who you are. They have tablets in front of them, so they are able to pull up your file. His is going to be under number one. He's our first appearance for this morning.
Okay.
I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the Board of Pharmacy, and here at the front table, half of us on this side, we are all staff members here at the board. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCrady is our assistant director. Ms. Bales is our legal counsel. On the other side, we have Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's our board chair of this informal committee group, Dr. Brian Jolly, who's our board president, and Dr. Rodney Richmond. And those are the four decision makers for you here today. In this process, they're here to meet on your request to get approval on your pharmacy technician application. At the end of this discussion, they could come up with one of several decisions. They could say, we would vote to approve this application, deny this application, we'll approve it or table it for some period of time. The important thing for you is whatever they decide, you can either agree or disagree with. You agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do. If you disagree, then it's your chance to either say, forget this and walk away, or to request a hearing before the full board at a later date. So my couple questions for you are, do you understand why you're here today? And you can leave that on too.
Yes.
Okay. Any questions about how the process works?
No. What you said was pretty straightforward.
Okay. At any point during this, realizing you've never sat in that chair or been in front of this agency, if you've got any questions, stop us, ask any questions if you have.
Okay.
So I'll turn it over to staff to give a brief overview of why we're here, and then the board members want to talk to you about your application.
All right. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We brought Mr. Mobley Duckworth in for informal conference based on some potential disqualifying offenses that showed up on his background check. There was an incident on September 3rd, 2018, where he was arrested by Centerton Police Department for knowingly furnishing or selling alcohol to a minor and obstruction of government operations. The court records are in your packet. They're a little inconclusive. They do indicate that there was a trial date, but then also that charges were null pros. Mr. Mobley Duckworth's statements indicates he believes he was wrongfully arrested. He failed to disclose this arrest on his application.
All right. You want to tell us in your own words what happened?
Yes. So what took place on September 3rd, I believe it was 2019. Basically what happened was I was invited somewhere to a gathering with some people, a few friends, and it was on a Sunday in Northwest Arkansas. You can't get alcohol on a Sunday in Northwest Arkansas. They asked if I could get alcohol, and I was like, nah, I can't do that because it's Sunday. We went over there, went to their house. I rode with them. I didn't drive my car. We went there. They had found a way to get alcohol. I think the only place in Northwest Arkansas you can get alcohol on a Sunday is in Springdale. There's only one location out there. And so I'm assuming they went out there. They had the alcohol. They drank. I drank a little bit, but I was not one of the people who furnished the alcohol, nor was I the owner of the place. I didn't even know the two people who were the owners of the place. I knew two other people there, which was my brother who was in town from Virginia, who had come to visit me, and a friend of mine who knew the people who owned the place. But when the cops came, they arrested everyone. Anyone who was above the age of 18 or above the age of, I think, yeah, about 18 years old, 17, 18 years old. Everyone got arrested and they took everyone down for it. Everyone who was there, they all pled guilty. I did not plead guilty because I did not do anything. Again, I didn't, even in the discovery, it states who actually bought the alcohol. One of the people who bought the alcohol was the owner of the place, and she was underage.
Were you the only one there over 21?
No, ma'am. I think it was me, my brother, one of the owners, two other gentlemen, and another girl.
What kind of place was this?
Honestly, I can't even tell you.
And was it a business?
No, it was someone's home.
Okay.
It was kind of like it was like an apartment, but it wasn't an apartment. It's one of those it's almost like a townhome.
And the people went to buy the alcohol there at that townhome?
No, they bought it beforehand.
Where did they buy it? Do you know?
Again, from my understanding, I think they might have bought it from Springdale, but I wasn't with them when they bought it. They came and got us afterwards.
So did they buy it from some business, or do you have any idea?
I'm pretty sure they bought it from a business. There's a place in Springdale called Macadoodles.
Okay.
That's the only place in Northwest Arkansas in Springdale that you can't buy alcohol on a Sunday.
So they bought it from McAdoo's and then took it to this place where
Yeah,
everybody was
there.
arrested.
That's what I'm assuming happened.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, can you tell me why you want to be a pharmacy technician?
Honestly, one of the reasons I want to be a pharmacy technician is it's kind of been one of those things that I've always kind of wanted to do. I had a girlfriend back in college who was like really big on pharmacy technician, becoming a pharmacy technician, and I used to help her study for her tests and stuff like that. And it just kind of became one of those things. She was going to school for it, and I kind of became one of those things where I was kind of interested in it. And I'm actually considering going to school for it now to become actually, I guess, certified. So that was one of the ways one of the reasons why I decided I want to do it. I wanted to try something new. I've been in the corporate field for the last, 5, 6 years now. And I was like, let's try something new. And the pharmacy thing was always something that I wanted to do.
Have you talked to anybody about a job or anything?
Yeah, I was actually working for Express RX Pharmacy recently. I want to say maybe a few months ago, but they had to end my time with them because they didn't have the time. They didn't have the available hours for me to work only as a clerk, because I was hired on with the pretense that I was going to become a pharmacy tech. So I had to part ways with them until, I can actually embark on that journey.
Does anyone else have any questions of this gentleman?
I'll just kind of have one. Mr. Duckworth, would you agree or would you anticipate that attention to detail in the pharmacy field is important? That you closely read the prescriptions or anything you're dealing with?
Yeah, I would totally agree that my time being a clerk, I have noticed, I think this is something also just something about me as well. And I'm very detail oriented myself, very thorough. For the last few months now, since I've not been working with the pharmacy anymore, I've been working with accounts payable, which I've done that for I want to say about 3-4 years now. When working for the pharmacy, I did notice, how detailed it is as far as the medications, the specific amount, dosage, being able to tell that or do that math and calculate how much need to go into the bottle, what bottle to use, how much in what type of syringe I should give them for specific solutions. That is something I have taken into account, and it's definitely very.
But the reason I ask is you indicated on the application that you had not been, let's back up. In your explanation for why you didn't mark anything on your application, you said you had not been convicted.
Mm.
But the question asked, have you ever been cited, arrested for, or charged with, or convicted? And you indicated no. So is it your explanation that you understood the question to only be regarding conviction?
Yes, I would say that. I think initially when I was reading it, that is one of the things I thought that it was saying. I thought it was just really asking if I was convicted or not. Only because I've kind of seen it worded on several applications differently. And that's normally what's being asked, but I wasn't completely sure. So,
okay, so this is just a example of detail that you overlooked 3 of the 4 things that it was asking. and went straight to conviction, so.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that. Yes, sir.
Any other questions or discussion? What is the will of the board?
I'd be willing to make a motion to approve his application.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any nays? Motion passes. Sir, you mentioned that you were in school at one point. Were you in college?
Yeah, I am. I'm actually starting back again, this upcoming semester. So
Okay, good for you.
yes,
You
ma'am.
know, we're giving you your technician license, but I would like to see you move on a little further up the line. I think you have the ability.
Thank
Very
you.
articulate.
I appreciate that. I really appreciate it, guys.
Get some experience under your belt,
Mhm.
go to pharmacy school.
Yes.
Pay attention to detail.
Mhm.
Yes, sir. I definitely will.
Hey, just so you're aware too, if you were talking about, you were thinking about going to school to get certified as a tech,
Mhm.
you don't have to go to school to do that. You can do that, by studying for the PTCB exam
Oh,
on
really?
your own.
You don't have to go to 6-month, 9-month school to do.
Oh, I
that.
didn't know that.
Yeah,
No.
you can, and a lot of employers will actually help you study for that exam in order to take it. So
Oh, wow.
You don't have, like, if you're working on a college degree,
Mhm.
don't get distracted by going, I gotta spend 9 months to become certified as a tech. You don't have to go to a school for that.
I didn't know that.
And unless you're working somewhere that gives you a pay advantage or something for it,
Mhm.
it may not be worth the investment versus continuing your college credit.
Oh, so I could just take a test and I could still focus on my other degree. Oh, okay.
Study up on it.
Yeah, there's like study guides, that you can purchase. I don't know how much they are, just say $100 for the guide.
Mhm.
And that's going to be far less expensive than a 9-month educational program.
If you go to PTCB, Pharmacy Technician Certification Board, so
Mhm.
ptcb.org. That's all you need. Go there,
Okay.
log in, sign up.
And some employers have career ladders where if you pass it, you'll move up in
Mhm.
terms of your job title and your pay. So make sure you check into that.
Yeah, I will definitely do that. I didn't know that. I thought I had to do a whole program.
Good luck.
Thank
Good
you.
luck.
No, but I mean, I think definitely for our folks that are. That is it.
Good morning. Good morning.
Marshall.
How you doing, Ms. Marshall?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing well. I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the Board of Pharmacy, and I'm going to tell you who you're talking to at this front table and still think about this procedure. In addition to myself, here on staff, I have Dr. Brenda McCready, who's our assistant director, and Ms. Ashley Bells, who's our legal counsel. The other 4 people are actually members of the pharmacy board, and they're your decision makers today. You've got Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal committee, Dr. Brian Jolly, who's our board president, and Dr. Rodney Rich. In this procedure, we are here to discuss, you had a pharmacy technician application, and some stuff came back in your background that you did not tell us about. That's what they're going to want to talk to you about. In this process, at the end of it, they're going to come up with some decision. They
Mhm.
could say we would vote to approve this application, deny this application, table it for a period of time, or put some condition on it.
Mhm.
Whatever they come up with, you can either agree or disagree with. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do. If you disagree, then it's your chance to either kind of say, 1, forget this and walk away, or 2, if I turn my microphone on as well. Number 2 would be to say, I would like to have an appeal and a hearing before the full board at a later date. The full board is all 8 members, court reporter, hearing officer. It's just a more formal procedure than today.
Okay.
So I'll ask, first of all, do you know why you're here?
Yes.
And do you have any questions about how the process works?
No, not right now, no.
Okay, and that's a good point. Not right now. If at some point during this, you do have a question about what's going on or some procedural question, by all means, stop us, interrupt us, get our attention, and we'll be happy to help explain anything we can.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn over to staff to give a brief overview of why we're here, and then I think the board members will want to talk to you about your application.
We have brought Ms. Marshall in front of the informal committee today, to address some potentially disqualifying, arrests. She did not disclose any of these arrests on her application. The first one was on December 29, 2012. She was arrested by Wichita, Kansas Police Department for theft of property or services. On July 31st, 2012, she was sentenced to 6 months jail time, suspended, $200 fine and court costs, and to have no contact with JCPenney's. On June 13th, 2003, she was again arrested by Wichita, Kansas Police Department for brawling or fighting, and she had a warrant for failure to appear. It was alleged that she threatened to get a gun and shoot someone, but that charge was later dismissed. Then more recently, on February 28, 2019, she was arrested by Sedgwick County Sheriff's Office for endangering a child. She pled guilty to that charge and was sentenced to 12 months probation, 6 months jail, and she successfully completed probation in 2020. On September 4, 2019, she was arrested by Wichita, Kansas Police Department for disorderly conduct. That charge was later dismissed.
Okay,
None of that was on the application? I didn't put none of those charges on there?
You initially marked no to the question that you had never been cited, arrested, or charged or convicted of any offenses. And then when your background came back, we sent you a request for more information, and then you supplied the information.
Your original application.
So after a background came back, we sent you a letter in July asking you for more information. And that's when you gave us all the rest of it.
okay. You wanna get rid of your gun? Yeah, I don't like to talk to anybody on that gun. Okay, you wanna tell us in your own words, what happened here? Cause this is, 4 different incidences that you got into that you did not disclose on your application, on your initial application.
This had to have been a mistake on my end. I'm not putting this on this application. Maybe I didn't read it. I was just marking no. But the incidents, with the petty theft, I was just young with the wrong crowd and thought it was a good idea to go to JCPenney's and steal clothes. They got all their product back. And that's really that on that instance with the petty theft thing. I was really young. I was 19 years old. I was still a teenager. I was still a child. But the endangerment of a child, I didn't endanger anyone. I was at work. What happened with that situation was my then boyfriend, his aunt lived with us. She was living with us for about 4 months. I do know that she did have a past history of drug use. I was totally aware of that. But she seemed like she was trying to get herself together, but she lived with us and she would help me with my kids, help me with cleaning, cooking, little stuff like that around the house. My then boyfriend, he was in jail at the time. I had just started a new job. I had to be at work. I left my son with her. My other 2 kids were with their dad. So I left my youngest son with her. And I was at work and my brother called me. He called me at like between 6, 7 o'clock. And he was like, well, she's not here. Do you know where she is? And I was like, oh, well, she probably went to the grocery store or probably went to the park or something. I don't know. I was like, but if you can go back and check over there, because I had called her. She didn't answer the phone, but I didn't think nothing of it. I was like, well, can you go back over there in a few hours to check and see if she's there? He went back over there. She wasn't there. I worked a 2 to 10 shift. So when I got off of work at 10 o'clock, she still wasn't there. So I told myself, okay, I'm gonna give it another hour. If she's not here, I have to call the police because something can seriously be wrong and it'll look bad on me. So I ended up calling the police. They questioned me for hours. They ended up finding her and my son, and they told me that they are charging me with child endangerment because I left my son with someone who was incompetent. So that's what happened with the child endangerment charge. The disorderly conduct from 2013? What was it? 2019. 19. That was a situation between me and my mom. We don't have the best relationship. She's something's wrong with her mental. I'm gonna just say that. And I was actually talking to my sister. I was talking to my sister, and she had just got out of like an abusive relationship, and she had like 6 kids. And she was like, well, I want to take a self-defense class and I want to go get my license to carry. We're in the kitchen talking about this. My mom comes out of nowhere and she's like, what are you guys talking about? You're talking about getting a gun? And I was like, I never said anything about getting a gun or anything like that. The police was called. What I know, the case was dropped and dismissed, like she said. I never told her that I was going to pull out a gun and shoot her with a gun. I was never going to tell her that. And then the other incident was a while ago. That was me and a friend. Now that was a heated argument. It was about, I want to say it was about a car, something with a car. And I definitely could have went about it another way, but I feel like I was being accused of something that I did not do. So that definitely did get heated, and I can admit to that, my wrongdoings in that. I was wrong for that. But that case was later dismissed as well.
Okay. What brings you to Arkansas? And you
Um,
wanted to be a pharmacy technician?
My dad's side of the family is from here. My dad just recently passed away. So I decided to move down here. And I would like to be a pharmacy technician to further my education. I feel like this is not my last stop. This is just somewhere where I needed to be to collect more information to get to where I want to be.
Where are you headed?
I was actually looking into the LPN program at Pulaski Tech. I've been over there talking to them, trying to get tutors, because, you know, it's been a while since I've been in school. I mean, I got my CNA license, CMA license, and, you know, pharmacy tech, but school, I haven't done that since high school. So, you know, I've just been going up there, communicating with them, getting tutors, reading, just updating my mind, my mental, so I can get there.
Okay, well, pharmacy technician would be a good career path,
Mm-hmm.
and be a luncheon pad for whatever you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
So you change your environment, and you're here and you're ready to work.
Yes.
All right, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions? What is the will of the board then?
Sorry, I was trying to become, so if you're working in a public facing setting, there's gonna be times when you may have an upset customer that confronts you and may accuse you of something that you didn't do. So how are you gonna respond to that?
Oh, that situation, I was, like I said, that was a long time ago. I was so much younger. I know how to deal with people. Like I said, I've been a CNA since 2013. I definitely know how to communicate with people. Sometimes you just gotta be the bigger person and not, what word am I looking for? Not be so quick to snap back or have an attitude back. Just remain calm. And yeah.
You say you are a CNA? Is that a license?
It's a certificate, yeah.
Okay. Where are you licensed? Arkansas or?
I'm not
Kansas?
licensed in Arkansas yet. I'm actually in the process of transferring my license to the state of Arkansas.
From Kansas?
Kansas. Mhm.
Okay. And so your license in Kansas is in good standing?
Yes.
And when did you get a license originally in Kansas?
I want to say I did that after I caught that charge in 2012. I immediately went back to school, I think 2013.
No, I would just say, you do understand that on the application, when it asks you if you've been arrested,
Mhm.
when you have been charged, that you do need to answer yes, because when you answer no and then we find it,
looks
later
bad
on,
on
it
me.
it
Yeah.
looks real bad on you. And
Mhm.
that hurts your trust with employers,
Mhm.
anybody else. It's better off just to be upfront.
Yeah.
Be honest, say, yeah, I did this, but that, here's what's changed in that amount of time,
Mhm.
and just be upfront with it.
Mhm.
And that way there's not a question on integrity or anything else,
For sure. Like I said, I think it was just a mistake on my behalf. I think I was just marking something. I really don't even think I read this because I really don't remember doing this. I really don't. Honestly, I don't. I think, like I said, it was just a mistake on my behalf.
But in the healthcare field, which you're in currently and wanting to expand in, attention to detail is everything,
Oh, yeah.
so gotta really take the time, look at that,
Mhm.
and it can make the difference on prescriptions, anything else, you can catch an
Mhm.
error that maybe would have been missed otherwise.
Oh,
And
yes.
so, really pay attention to what you're doing and
Mhm.
look at that and make sure when you mark something down and sign your name to it, that, that it's right.
Our CNA registration is active according to Kansas.
I'm willing to give her a shot and approve her application. We'll make the motion. There's no any more discussion.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes.
Look,
Good luck. You're gonna get your license today.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning. How are you doing?
Rise and shine, all is well. How about yourself?
Doing good.
And Ms. Walker, how do you pronounce your first name?
It's gonna be Javeta.
Javeta. Okay. I'll try to keep that in mind if I have to say it. So I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the board, and I'm going to tell you who you're speaking with here at the front table and just a couple things about our procedure this morning. On this side of the table, we're all staff members here at the board, myself, Dr. Brenda McCready, who's our assistant director, and Ms. Ashley Bales, who's our legal counsel. On the other side, you have four of our pharmacist board members that are your decision makers here today. Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal committee, Dr. Brian Jolly, who's our current board president, and Dr. Rodney Richmond. We're here today based on your pharmacy technician application. And in that, you did let us know that some things would pop back on it. So thank you for proactively, being honest and letting us know that. In a moment, I'll have our staff just go over those issues, and then the board members will want to talk to you about your application.
Yes, sir.
At the end of the discussion, they're going to come up with some suggestion for action. It could be to approve the permit, deny the permit, table consideration at this time, or delay a decision on it. But whatever they come up with, you can either agree or disagree with. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do. If you disagree, then at that point, you get the chance to either say, forget this and walk away from it, or to request a hearing before the full board at a later time. The full board be all 8 board members, court reporter, hearing officer. We swear everybody in. It's just a more formal procedure than us having a discussion back and forth.
Yes, sir.
So I usually ask two questions. Number one, do you know why you're here today?
Yes,
And do you have any questions about how this process works?
no, sir.
If at any point during this, if you get confused or you want to ask a clarifying question about what's going on, by all means, get our attention. We want to help answer any questions that you have like that, realizing you've never sat in that chair before.
Exactly.
Okay, well, turn it over to staff.
We brought Ms. Walker in for informal conference based on some potential disqualifying arrests and convictions. She did disclose these in her application. The first one was from May 15, 2017. She was arrested and convicted of domestic battering in the second degree of felony. She's only provided a record to seal on that case that shows she was sentenced to a term of probation. Can only assume by that she completed probation successfully. But at some point, she was charged with failing to comply with the conditions of her probation in July 19th. But again, her record was sealed, so she did complete it as of June 2023. The more recent arrest is July 22nd, 2020. She was arrested on possession of controlled substance Schedule 6, less than 4 ounces by the White County Sheriff's Department. We don't have a statement on that regarding the charge, and there's no court records she provided. But she was convicted of the charge on June 8th. And that case has also been sealed. And she's also provided a letter of recommendation from the store manager at Walgreens, James Orr.
Okay, good morning.
Rise and shine.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened to bring about these charges?
Alrighty, May 2017, I want to say 19 years of age. I had 3 kids. And pardon me. My background growing up, I learned some survival skills that was unhealthy. I learned from my environment, which wasn't the best environment. And that tended to transcend until as I got older. I was out of control of my emotions, which led to me hitting him with my vehicle. At that moment, I knew that something had to change. I dug deeper within myself and I started asking myself questions such as, why am I the way I am? Why do I respond the way that I do? At the time of the incident, I was low emotionally, vibrationally. I didn't have any guidance. So from that day forward, I had to go within to find guidance. The drug charge, same incident. I was with him. I was not driving. I just so happened to be at the wrong place at the wrong time, and the officer gave it to me as well as him.
So what are you doing now?
Right now, I work at Sonic at 107. I'm transitioning into an assistant manager. I also work at Walgreens on 107, and I'm in the pharmacy. I'm just a cashier, so I don't actually get to fill the prescriptions and things in that nature. However, them knowing the knowledge of this board meeting there, hopefully I will be eligible to start soon.
So have you separated yourself from the things that you were having problems with and the people you were having problems with?
Yes, ma'am. I separated myself, I want to say maybe fully about a year ago. It took a whole lot. I withdraw from friends, so-called friends, family. It got really lonely. Although I was lonely, I was never alone. I don't know if you guys believe in Christ, but I do. 2023 has been such an eye-opening moment for me. I lost my place at the beginning of the year. Sometimes things that seems, I want to say, wrong or punishments turned out to be such blessings in disguise. You can learn so much from a certain situation with an open mindset. However, it takes extreme amount of accountability to hold yourself accountable for the person in the mirror. not only that, grace. We can't be hard on ourselves. And humility, being eligible to be teachable. So I've learned a lot this year, a whole lot.
Let's have any questions of this candidate?
Yes, sir, I have. I cannot tell you that. I don't know. It's been so long ago. 2017, I was put on probation, random drug screens, and that scared me. It scared me, so I haven't done it in over years. No, sir.
So you said you got separated from your home at the first of the year?
I'm sorry, sir.
Did you say you got evicted for what?
No,
You
March
lost-
31st.
You said you lost your place.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's wild.
March 31st, I went to work in a normal day. I came home to my home being demolished by the tornado.
Oh, okay.
In transition and from, due to my background of me being a felon, as far as career wise, I've always just gotten job opportunities. And something soulful, a job doesn't compare to a career. It doesn't. After the knowledge of me, self-equipped knowledge of me sealing my record, I started doing research as far as what means can I get into the medical field. And pharmacy was one. In the midst of that transition, October 31st, my car was stolen. I was hired December 6th at Walgreens. So it's like the more that I transmute everything that I've learned, everything that comes my way, the more I progress. So this year it's been a year. It's been a learning year.
December 6th of last year?
No, December 6th of this year, not December 6th. I'm sorry. No, October 6th.
Okay,
I got hired on at Walgreens.
okay. Sorry to hear about the tornado incident. Are you in better shape now as far as somewhere to?
Oh, yes, sir.
Good.
Most definitely.
Okay.
It took a lot of hard work and determination. I'm not for sure if you guys actually read the letter of characterization, but I highly recommend that you read mine. I've known about this process. I've known about the process for about 3 months before I actually turned it in. It took me 3 months to sit down and write what I wrote because I had to go within and heal so many traumas and limiting beliefs that no longer serve me. And that's a very hard thing to do. So I highly recommend that you read it.
For the record, I've read it.
I put my heart and soul in that.
So which store is Mr. Orr at? Be it 107?
Yes, sir.
Regardless of how this goes down, I see he's a technician, but it does not appear that he's actually told us where he's working. So you can go back and tell him, by the way, you're in violation with the board since you don't have it on file where you're working.
Yes, sir.
If he's the manager, he probably ought to do that.
Yeah.
Where's 107?
It's in Sherwood.
Okay.
JFK turns into 107, I think.
Yeah.
Also, it's route, not store number. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was an odd store number.
That'd be a really low number for this.
Yes, it would. I'd be willing to make a motion that we give her a permit.
Have a motion on the floor
I'll second.
and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. You'll get your license.
Thank you.
You'll do well and keep going. This is only a little stepping stone for you.
As I mentioned in my thing, a stepping stone. When you work sincerely internally, and you've been doing it for quite some while, and you're starting to see it manifest in the physical, it means so much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For, at least for that company, they get their store managers and assistant managers will have tech permits, so they can go back into the pharmacy. And also it's a pretty good background check if you've got people that will either have access to drugs or to emergency keys for pharmacists that come in for relief, or just because they're having to go back behind the counter and pull cash registers as well in that section. Is it Ms. Jackson?
Ms. Frederick. Yeah, this is Megan Frederick.
Oh, okay. We skipped one. There we go. Ms. Frederick, so that should be under tab 5 for us. All right, Ms. Frederick, I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the Board of Pharmacy. Who do you have with you today?
This is my stepfather.
Okay. Thank you for joining us as well. We got you in the hot seat, so yeah, that absolutely glad you're here with her.
My daughter needs me, I show up.
I feel the same way. So I'm going to tell you just real quickly who you're talking to and a couple things about this procedure. On this side of the table, we're staff members here at the board. Myself, Dr. Brendan McCready, who's our assistant director, and Ms. Ashley Bells, who's our attorney here on staff. On the other side, we have 4 of our pharmacy board members that are decision makers here today on your application. We have Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal committee, Dr. Brian Jolly, who's our current president of the board, and Dr. Rodney Richmond. Today, we're here. You have a pharmacy technician application, and you did let us know some things would pop back on it. So thank you for being up front and letting us know that, yes, something will come back. That does help in these conversations. And in a moment, I'll turn it over to staff to give us a brief overview of your application, and the board members will want to talk to you about it. At the end of this discussion, which we call informal because we're just back and forth across the table, they'll make some suggestion for action. They could suggest to approve the application, deny the application, say they want to defer a decision on it or ask for something before they make a decision. But whatever they come up with, you could either agree or disagree with. If you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they have asked us to do. If you disagree, it gives you a choice to either say, forget this and walk away from it, or request a full hearing before the full board at a later date. That would be all 8 board members, court reporter, hearing officer, swear everybody in. So that's a formal procedure, whereas that's why we kind of call this informal. So the 2 quick questions I have for you right now, do you understand why you're here today?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about how this works?
Nope.
If at any point during this, you do have a question about, what procedure is going on or anything, stop us, wave at us, get our attention, ask any questions you have. I realize you've never been in that seat and we do this all the time, so we'll be glad to help you. Okay, that turn to Ms. Bells.
We brought Ms. Frederick in for the informal hearing today. Based on a disqualifying offense. She did disclose that she had been arrested or cited before. There's one incident, a misdemeanor, from March 26, 2016, where she was cited for possession of an instrument of a crime, drug paraphernalia. On August 26, 2016, she went to court, pled guilty to the charge. She was sentenced to $500 fine and court costs, and the case was taken under advisement for 4 months. Then on January 16, 2017, the charge was dismissed because she was in compliance with her probation conditions and court-ordered payments.
You wanna tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, so my mother had left a weed like vaporizer in my car. I got pulled over on the way back home, because we live about 2 hours from where the rest of my family lives, for seatbelt. And the officer asked to search my car. I said, of course, I'm gonna comply with that. And they found that. I didn't know where it come from, but I got a lawyer because that's what my boyfriend's mom has suggested whenever we got the ticket. Went to court, pled guilty, found out later where it had come from. And that's pretty much it.
And you have a minute, volunteer girls at the house. Okay. So, what brings you to the world of pharmacy?
Well, I left my job at Papa John's because it was very mentally and physically stressful for me. I was doing a lot and I was causing myself a little bit of harm doing it. So I wanted to kind of get out of the fast food industry. I applied at Walmart. They had a pharmacy technician in training. I applied for it and they hired me. And then I didn't know it was this intensive, but I thought, why not? And I just went from there. I thought it was an interesting career choice.
What location are you?
Clarksville, Arkansas.
Okay, that's fine. Have you been in trouble with anything else?
I mean, I got a speeding ticket when I was 18 or 17.
Okay.
I'm taking my M&M CD.
I lost my train of thought with
Sorry.
So you're doing the training program with Walmart still?
Yes, I completed it. I brought my completion certificate just in case. But
Okay.
yeah, I finished that about 2 weeks ago.
So now you're just hoping to get your permit so that you can work in the pharmacy?
Yes, and then I have my thing for the PTCB like prepaid with the Walmart program. I just haven't done anything further with that. I figured I'd do this first and then
Great.
figure that out.
How are you liking working in pharmacy?
Well, I've been in the personnel office. I haven't been behind the pharmacy counter, but I like my pharmacist. He was very nice to me and everybody at Walmart's really great.
Who's your pharmacist?
Joseph Hawkins. He hit his 40 years, I think, recently. I was in the personnel office when they were talking about his party.
I'll make a motion to approve it.
We have a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any nays? Okay.
I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you.
You'll wait for us, and that's gonna be a lot of hard work.
I know it looked like hard work, but I'll tell you, being near all those pizza ovens, it seems a lot better than that.
Well, it's time to move towards more of a long-term career.
Right.
I'm 30 this year, so.
Don't play the M&M too loud on the way back to.
I'll try to restrain
Okay.
myself.
She's never getting to see that.
Might lose yourself in a moment.
You guys have a great day.
See you. All right.
Next be Audrey Jennings.
Saw Eminem the other day on something. He's aging like I am.
Yeah.
It'll take long to get there.
So 8 Mile will come more like 20 miles.
Or 2 mile, depending on how you
Well,
look at
there
it.
you
Yeah.
Are you good today?
Good, how are you?
All right.
Doing well. Miss Jackson, it's Audrey, isn't it?
Yes.
Okay, I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the board. I'm going to tell you real quickly who all you're talking to up here and a couple things about this procedure. On this side, we're all staff members here at the office. Myself, Dr. McCready is our assistant director. Ms. Bales is our attorney here on staff. On the other side, we have 4 of our pharmacy board members who are decision makers on your application today. We have Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenora Newsom, who's the chair of our informal committee, Dr. Brian Jolly, who's our board president, and Dr. Rodney Richmond. We're here today on your pharmacy technician application, which you did check the box to let us know, something's going to come back. So thank you for being forthright and honest on your answer that we would find something. That does help in these conversations for us. Here in a moment, I'll have the staff just describe what is in your application and the board members want to talk to you about it. At the end of the conversation, they're going to come up with some suggestion for action. It could be to approve your permit, to deny your permit, to table a decision for your permit at this time, or your registration, and whatever they come up with, you can either agree or disagree with. If you agree, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do. And if you disagree, you can either kind of say, you know what, forget this, walk away from it. Or you could say, well, I'd like to have a hearing before the full board at a later date. We call that a formal hearing because it's all 8 board members, hearing officer, a court reporter. We swear everybody in. It's just a more formal procedure than coming in and having a discussion like this, even though I know this feels pretty formal. I generally ask 2 questions. Do you know why you're here today?
Yes,
Do you have any questions about how this process works?
not at this time.
That's a good point. If you do have a question about what's going on, I realize you've never sat in that chair before. Stop us, raise your hand, get our attention, and ask us any questions you have about the procedure or anything you need to clarify. Want to be sure we help you any way we can with that.
Okay.
Turn over to staff.
All right, we brought Ms. Jackson in for informal conference today based on disqualifying potential history. There's one incident from April 16th, 2022. She was arrested for theft of property, a misdemeanor for shoplifting goods from Walmart valued less than $1,000. She went to court in October of last year and entered a plea of no contest. She was sentenced to a fine of $560, court costs, and 1 year jail term suspended.
You want to tell us a little bit about what was going on when you committed this?
Yes. So during last year, it was a completely different time than this year. I was here by myself in the state. I only have my mother, and she lives in Minnesota. So I was here on my own. I didn't have a job, and my mom didn't have a job in Minnesota either. So I stole goods for necessity purposes. I'm not proud of it, of course, but that's something I felt like I had to do to eat, to have things like soap and just like basic necessities I could not get anywhere else. I don't even have family. My mother's family disowned her at an early age, so it's just me, her, and my sisters.
So what are you currently doing?
So currently, I've did a whole turnaround. So since then, I've gotten my associate's degree at Shorter College. Right now, I'm enrolled in Euler. This is my junior year. I graduate next year with my degree in psychology and a minor in management. I've did a complete turnaround. I'm actually engaged, and my life is nothing like it was last year. I don't have to do that anymore.
What brings you to pharmacy?
What brings me to pharmacy is I would like to be of service to people. With me getting a degree in psychology, I want to help people. I want to learn why humans do what they do, and I just want to be of service. I think that's my purpose in life.
Where are you working at now?
Nowhere.
Okay.
I'm in school. I'm just a student.
When did you start school?
Euler, I started in August.
And prior to that, had you some other school, had other education?
I graduated with my associate's degree in May of 23.
I'm trying to just put the time frame together. You said you're a junior in college, but you just started last August.
Yes, I just entered inside of the bachelor's program. I was in a 2-year program, graduated, and then pursued further education at UALR.
You transferred your credit from shorter to?
Yes, exactly, yes.
Have you finished paying off all your obligations to the court on that theft?
Yes, ma'am, that is actually not an accurate record at this time. So actually completed everything.
Okay.
Would they have a record of that, Ms. Bales?
I mean, it shows, pay pen balance of 0, so I'm assuming that it was paid off, but it's kind of hard to tell. It's in your packet. The docket entry.
Page 9, and we see this sometimes where it'll say what is owed, but then it makes it look like it has installments, defendant total, but then below it, it says 0.
Yes, there were installments. I didn't mean to interrupt anyone, but there were installments. Yes.
So you're all settled up with them?
Yes,
Okay.
that is sealed.
I think staff's biggest concern was that it was just so recent. Just last April, not August, no, April of 2022. And that was one of our biggest concerns.
After talking to her so much, she's trying to turn things around and it's headed in the right direction.
I'm accepting of her explanation why she did it.
She was truthful on her.
Yes.
Yeah, she disclosed up front.
Right.
Well, I agree. Normally I like to see a little bit more time between, but it sounds like, you're enrolled in college, you're making progress toward a degree. I would be willing to approve her.
That's a motion, I'll second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor, signify by saying aye. Any nays? Motion passes. You continue to do well.
Thank you.
Stay on the right track.
She didn't answer it, so we'll have her check it off.
Okay.
There's one question on the application about if there's any disciplinary action from DEA or anything that you didn't answer. So we're going to get you to actually check off one or the other on that. I imagine it's no, but for your application, I just want to be sure it's complete on there.
Okay, yeah, it's a no.
Good luck, Ms. Jackson.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Or they show up or next week.
Favors?
For the most part, I've been so positive about all of it.
Yeah. Good morning, how you doing?
How are you doing? Let's see, let me flip over to my page here. Ms. Shavers, I'm John Kirtley. I'm the Director of the Board of Pharmacy. If you'll hit that button that says push and release it, it'll turn green and that means go. There we go.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm the Director of the Board. I'm going to tell you who all you're speaking with at this front table today and just a couple things about this procedure. On this side, myself, Dr. Brenda McCready, who's our Assistant Director, and Ms. Ashley Bells, who's our Legal Counsel. We're all staff members here at the board. The other four people you're looking at are decision makers as members of the Board of Pharmacy. I have Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal committee, Dr. Brian Jolly, who's our board president, and Dr. Rodney Richmond. Today we're here, you have a pharmacy technician application. And on that application, you did let us know that something would pop back on it. So thank you for letting us know that ahead of time.
Yes, sir.
In a moment, I'm going to have staff explain what's in the application and the board members will want to speak to you about it. At the end of their discussion, they're going to make some suggestion for action. They could suggest to approve your application, deny your application, table a decision on your application, or a various and sundry other list of decisions they could make.
Yes, sir.
The most important thing for you is whatever they decide, you can either agree or disagree with. If
Yes.
you agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked. If you disagree with it, you can either kind of say, forget this and walk away from it, or say, I'd like to have a hearing before the full board at a later date.
Okay.
That'd be a more formal hearing with all 8 members, hearing officer, court reporter, swear everybody in, kind of like court, and it's just a little bit more formal than us being able to have a conversation.
Okay.
So I asked 2 questions. Do you know why you're here today?
Yes.
And do you have any questions about how this works?
No, not at the moment.
Okay, and that's a good point. If you do in a little bit have a question about something, by all means, raise your hand, get our attention, and we'll be happy to try to help answer any questions we can for you. I realize you've never been in that seat or before this agency, so it's probably confusing for anyone that's never been there.
Right.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
I'll turn over to staff and we'll get over you.
And we brought Ms. Shavers in for informal conference today based on some disqualifying offenses in her history. And first one is from May 30th, 2011. She was arrested and charged with shoplifting by Little Rock Police Department. She was placed on probation for that offense. And on June 11th, 2011, her probation was revoked. She was sentenced to a fine and court cost, and the expungement that would have been a part of her original sentence was also revoked. Then on or about June 19th, 2012, she was arrested and charged with shoplifting by North Little Rock Police Department. She was placed on 1-year probation in order to pay $400 in fine and court costs.
Okay, Ms. Shavers, you want to tell us what was going on in your life? The moment that you did these things?
Well, I think I was about 19 at the time. I was young. I was hanging around the wrong crowd of people, and I was following behind others, and I chose to make those bad decisions.
And what have you been doing since then?
Since then, I have been working within the last 5 years, I've been doing mental health. Like mental health jobs, or before that, I've just been working like fast food.
Okay. So why be a pharmacy technician?
I just want something better for myself, my kids, and I just want to have a chance to do something different.
Are you working at a pharmacy or had any pharmacy experience?
No, ma'am, not at the moment.
And where are you currently working?
Right now I'm at Easter Steels.
Where?
Easter Steels.
So it sounds like you were taking service-oriented jobs.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. And before mental health, I worked at the State Hospital and Conway Human Developmental Center.
And how long did you do that?
I was at the State Hospital 3 years, and Conway, I was there 6 months, but I just did a transfer to the State Hospital when I was there. And then, let me see, after there, I was at Centers for Youth and Family. And I was there 2 years before I went to Easter Seals.
Does anyone else have any questions? What's the will of the board?
The motion to approve the license.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second on the floor for approval of your license. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Any nays? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank
But
you.
you're in a good field. And you may want to consider going to school since you seem to have a gift
Yes,
for helping others, and go ahead and get your little piece of paper.
thank
and,
you.
Go on from there.
Thank you.
You're welcome. The church is probably gone.
So Dr. McCray and I are just having a sidebar that, we're looking at having a discussion with the full board at a later date of, maybe trying to set up some more guidelines of things that you have seen over the years that you're generally going to approve, and have some more concrete guidelines to help us make this a little bit less burdensome. There's automatically a difference anytime someone tells us nothing's on there and stuff comes back. But some of these folks that, yes, something's going to come back. I did shoplift. It was less than $100. It's been X number of years ago is one thing. Within a couple of years is a different issue to us, where we know you guys are going to want to see them, than something that's, years and years ago. So we may try to put that on like February agenda for the full board to kind of help clean this up a little bit, because we're just seeing more of it all the time. I mean,
We have stacks waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Schedule a whole nother.
we have another 15 probably waiting that we're in process on. Like by the time we can get a group scheduled for, every other month doing this, it's just because we're doing over 2,000 applications every biennium that we approve.
What are the most common issues that you guys see come up?
Drug possession, which is probably a different issue. Theft. So much of it is theft, shoplifting situations where, if they pull, especially a kid aside that is in a shoplifting thing and there's 4 friends with them, they just charge everybody, or it's a car with marijuana in it or drugs and no one wants to admit it, so they charge everybody. And so they get the charge, and sometimes it does get straightened out later in court as to, okay, we've established it was person A, not person B or C in it.
If we had something. Kinds of, and I'm just making something up just to throw it out there, but no felonies, misdemeanors greater than 10 years or greater, non-drug related misdemeanors, however granular we don't want
Theft,
to drill down into.
I mean, if it's shoplifting less than $100, this length of time away, and they admit it up front, then clear. Because if we see, the unfortunate thing is we see people, I mean, you saw it yesterday, you'll see it again today. They say no on everything and just cross their fingers that nothing comes back. Like being willfully deceitful is a different issue.
Well, and I think too, there's some people, seems like there's some confusion on, I was told that it was expunged in first offense and it would never, come up, and I needed to say.
Yeah. And people don't understand that there are oversight agents. Like if you could have a conviction that was canceled or expunged or whatever, but when you get pulled over on the side of the road, like it still shows up in the system for certain purposes, you know, with law enforcement and then with oversight agencies when you're dealing with healthcare, things like that.
Well, and
Say anything related to drugs and drug paraphernalia, regardless of the age of the charge.
You want to say,
And felonies.
yeah, any felony is going to come.
Well, and the reason I say that is, you know, I recall one from a couple years ago, maybe longer, where, I mean, it had been 20 years, but the severity of what had actually occurred was a really hard decision to make in terms of putting someone in the presence of controlled substances. And so I think just any felony, regardless of length of time, will probably, anyway, more to come.
Felony is a specific thing cited in statute anyway, so.
Yeah.
well, and I think it would help us because these people, like these applicants that you're seeing now submitted their application in like this summer, July and August.
Yeah.
So it delays them their career if it's going to be something that you guys eventually want to probably give their application to. If we had more guidance, maybe we could speed that up for them.
We have a little break in time until our, that's not somebody waiting on it.
That is waiting on, that's a new applicant,
Oh, okay.
Not-
Not somebody waiting.
not somebody waiting for us.
So we have a brief break. If you guys want to break until our next one shows up, we had two for 9:30 that did not show up. We have another one scheduled for 10:30 that may still show up. But that would be our last one before lunch. So we'd scheduled for 3 more people to be here.
You wanna give someone call these other ones up? And let someone come on in?
We can try.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we can go work on that, see if we can get some, because we only have them scheduled till 2:00 today. And if they all show up this afternoon, I think we'll still be done at 3 if they all show up, unless one of them gets really extended for some reason. We do that. As soon as somebody shows up, we'll come back in.
Right.
tab number 6. Good morning, Ms. Welch. How are you doing?
Fine.
Hey, I'm John Kirtley. I'm the Director of the Board of Pharmacy, and I'm going to tell you who you're speaking with at the table this morning and a couple things about this procedure.
Okay.
On this side, we're all staff members here at the board. Myself, Dr. Brenda McCready is our Assistant Director. And Ms. Ashley Bells is our Legal Counsel. On the other side of the table, we've got board members that are decision makers here today on your application. We've got Dr. Clint Boone, Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of our informal committee, Dr. Brian Jolly, who is our board president, and Dr. Rodney Richmond. On your application, you did not tell us that anything would come back, but something did come back. On your application, the board members want to talk to you about in just a moment. The way we usually do this procedure is I turn it over to staff. They tell us what is on your application, and then the board members will have a discussion with you about it. At that point, they're going to make some suggestion for a decision. And with that suggestion, it could be to approve your application, deny your application, table consideration at this time. It kind of runs the full gamut of all kinds of possibilities. The important thing for you is you can either agree or disagree with whatever they come up with. You agree with it, we go forth with whatever they've asked us to do. If you disagree, then you could either say, forget this and walk away from the technician application, or you could request a hearing before the full board at a later date. Full board is all 8 board members, court reporter, hearing officer. We swear everybody in, and it's just a more formal procedure than having discussion back and forth across the table. So the 2 questions I generally ask are, do you know why you're here today?
I do.
Okay. Do you have any questions about how this works?
No, I'm just nervous.
I understand. And I know you've never been in that seat before. So realizing that, if you do have a question about something in the process at any point during this, wave your hand, get our attention. We want you to ask any questions that you have, because we do this a lot and we'd be happy to help you understand anything that you're confused about. Okay. That I'll turn over to staff.
We had brought Miss Welsh in for informal conference today based on a potential disqualifying offense. There's one offense from February 13th, 2014. She was arrested and charged with prostitution and Class A misdemeanor. The disposition of this offense is unknown. It has been sealed, but it still showed up on her background check. But she has the paperwork that she has pursued that recently. I think it was filed in June, I think, to be sealed. And so that's why we brought her in front of the committee today.
A statement
Yeah.
on page 9. They just have received your application on their little
Oh, okay.
devices.
So have you walked away from that situation?
Yes, I have not been in any trouble or anything since then. I work for the state police now. I have about 4 years ago too, doing security work. So I haven't looked back at that or anything. I've worked ever since then. I've learned my lesson, and I've just tried to change for the better and move on.
Okay. So, you're working for the state police right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Why'd you change over to pharmacy?
Well, I've always had an interest in like medicine and stuff like that. I'm a type 1 diabetic myself, so I've always had an interest in that type of field. So I joined the class and I completed the class, and I just wanted to kind of change paths, careers, so.
Okay.
So you've completed the technician training program?
Yes.
Okay.
You know where you want to work?
I wanted to start like in like a little local pharmacy or something, just to get like a little feel of it, and then maybe progress somewhere bigger or something like that.
Why did you not disclose?
I didn't fill out the application. The instructor that I had for the pharmacy class, she filled it out for me. So she just told me to send my
diploma and my social and ID and all that kind of stuff, so I didn't really.
She helped you fill it out, but you signed it, right? I mean, you had
I
to.
didn't sign anything.
Yeah.
I called after that, after they mailed me the paper and said I had got denied, and I called and I told the lady that I didn't even sign, I didn't fill out anything, so. No, that's not even my handwriting. That's my instructor's handwriting. That's what I was trying to call and tell y'all.
Who's your instructor?
Her name is Shawanda. Wanda, it's been so long ago. Oh, just a second. She's with Southwest Medical Academy.
Where's that located?
You have the rest of her application.
Not really sure. I took classes online. But I know it's Southwest Medical. Here's the rest of it.
That'd be different. That'd be on request for a waiver.
And Ms. Brown?
Yes, that's her. That's me.
Does she need to fill out an application today?
We,
What are we gonna do?
hear a lot that the schools fill out applications. This is the first time somebody's sat there and said, I didn't sign.
Okay, yeah.
It looks quite a bit different if you
Mhm.
look at her signature on the
Yeah,
request
the
for waiver and the one
signatures.
for.
Her signature
statement.
today too, if you want to see that.
Yeah, it's completely different. There's her signature from today.
Mm-mm.
The W is completely
Now,
different.
she filled that out because that was last year.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't.
And the criminal background check. That doesn't, is that your signature on that, or is that?
She signed.
This is her signature today.
On the request for waiver
Okay,
and statement, these, but she did not sign the application, what she's saying.
that looks like her signature. I don't know.
I don't have that in this packet.
Yeah.
it's
I'm an
waiver.
expert there.
I mean, I don't have it physically to show her.
Can we print these out and have her put her signature on them? Just to make it
That's that.
Yeah.
official.
I mean, the signature on the application,
Where's this one comes in?
yeah, but the E's the same. It looks like the criminal background was. I apologize for running back.
It's okay.
This is not about you guys.
No, they shouldn't be doing that, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't fill none of that out. The only thing I filled out was the one that I mailed in to y'all. I didn't,
So when you did you do a physical fingerprint card or did you go to a scanning?
I went to a scanning.
Okay. You had to sign there.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
You did approve them of the fingerprint.
So do we need to get a signature on
The original application.
the original to have her sign on that?
Or, well, which, yeah, we can fix that part. We're identifying an issue with people who are not you at this point.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
I would make a motion to approve.
I would second that.
Okay, we have a motion in a second. Any further discussion? All in the favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Any nays? The motion passes. All right, good luck.
Thank you.
But you got this license and you keep going.
Yes, ma'am.
You
I
can go,
am.
you have to go to school.
Yes, ma'am. I am.
Yeah. Just don't sit on that. Keep moving.
Yes, ma'am. I will.
You'll get your license today, so
First
hang
time.
on.
Okay.
You're still young.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say, I read your statement, so you put your age in there. You still got plenty of time.
Yeah. And today's my birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I think that we're good unless the last one or two shows up here in the next little bit.
I saw somebody out here. Oh, no. Oh, and.
Yeah, she's gone.
Thank
Absolutely, thank you. Hey.
Which group you working at? Which group you working at? Group?
I work at, I work with,
Okay. Like which state police location?
oh, Little Rock.
Okay. Great to see you. You guys showed up.
I know. Same. Waiting on one more board member to join us back.
Are you doing? Good morning, I'm fine, how are you?
This is, I believe it's Ms. Winston.
Mhm.
All right. Ms. Winston, I'm John Kirtley. I'm the director of the pharmacy board. I'm going to tell you who all you're talking to this morning and a couple of things about our procedure.
Okay.
On this side of the table, we're all staff members here at the board office. Myself, Dr. Brendan McCready is our assistant director, and Ms. Bales is our legal counsel here at the board. On the other side, we have four of our pharmacy board members that are decision makers here today on your technician application. We have Dr. Clint Boone. We have Dr. Lenore Newsom, who's the chair of this informal committee. And we have Dr. Brian Jolly, who's our current president of the board, and Dr. Rodney Richmond. In your application, you did let us know that some stuff was going to come back. So thank you for letting us know that up front. And in this process, I'll turn over to staff to give us a brief overview of what we found in your background check or what you had reported to us.
Okay.
And then the board members are going to want to talk to you about your application.
Okay.
Into that discussion, they're going to come up with some suggestion for action. It could be to approve your application, to deny your application, to table a decision and wait to make a decision later on it. Whatever they come up with, you can either agree or disagree with. If you agree with whatever they come up with, then we go forth and process whatever they've asked us to do. If you disagree, you kind of have the choice of either one, saying, forget this, walk away from it, or two, to request a hearing, a formal hearing before the full board at a later date. Full board is all 8 board members. We have a hearing officer, a court reporter. We swear everybody in. And it's more formal than us having a discussion like this. So I generally ask, do you know why you're here today? Do you have any questions about how this works? If at any point during this, realizing you've never sat at that table and we do this all the time, you've got a question, by all means, ask us, wave your hands, get our attention. We want to help answer any questions that you've got to help with that. Okay?
Thank you.
I'll turn over to Ms. Bales for an overview.
All right. We brought Ms. Winston in for an informal conference based on some things that she disclosed in her application. The first incident is from December 31st, 2012. She was charged and cited with possession of a controlled substance. When she was riding in the car, it was pulled over and law enforcement searched her purse and found marijuana inside. She pled guilty to that charge and was sentenced to community service, fines and court costs, substance abuse classes. She did not timely comply with court orders and was revoked and found in contempt, but then ultimately finished her obligation. Then she was arrested again and charged with possession of controlled substance in September of 2015. She was found guilty of that charge and was sentenced to a fine of $785 in community service, and she completed those obligations in April of 2019.
Okay. What was going on in your life? What was going on in your life that you were using illegal drugs?
I believe I was young and immature. I really wasn't paying attention to my actions. Like I said, I believe I acted young. I was out. I was partying with friends. I just believe I was young at the time.
But then you did it again, like what, about 3 years later?
I did.
You didn't change?
I wouldn't say that I didn't change. It was just a mistake that I was making.
Okay. So what are you doing now?
I work at Walgreens.
How long have you been with Walgreens?
About 3 months now.
Okay. So who are your friends?
My children, my husband. I'm married now. My children, my husband, my family.
And you haven't been in any trouble since?
Yeah.
I see marijuana mentioned twice, but what are the other drugs that were found? There's Schedule 4 and Schedule 5. In Arkansas, marijuana would be Schedule 6.
Oh, what the drug?
Oh, actually,
It's marijuana.
That's what is listed on the docket sheet, but I'm not sure that's correct. Because it was in fact just marijuana.
We have seen instances where I've seen this go both directions. I've seen people charged with marijuana that didn't have marijuana. And I've seen people that literally we have, I mean, Dr. McCray and I could explain a whole case where they figured out how to plea a case out for a lesser sentence on marijuana, even though the person wasn't found to have marijuana. But I've seen many times where marijuana has been charged with the wrong schedules. And if you have legal counsel to represent you correctly, you can sometimes beat those charges or get them reduced to a Schedule 6 because they are paying attention enough to realize it wasn't a Schedule 4 or a Schedule 5 or Schedule 3.
so your statement says that you've not used any substance since 2015?
Correct.
You don't have a medical marijuana card?
No.
And the last time that you recall using marijuana?
2015, I haven't.
So 8 years ago.
Correct, yes, sir.
Which location, which store you working at?
JFK,
Okay, that's a busy store.
yes, very busy.
What made you want to get into pharmacy?
I have actually was interested in pharmacy a while back. And so I had, the school that I attended, they reached out to me and saying that they were, doing classes. And so I enrolled in those classes, completed, graduated, and, got held back because of my license, but I'm hired now at Walgreens as a pharmacy associate. But I, I can't fully work into the pharmacy until I receive my license.
Did you get your technician certification?
Yes, yes, sir, I do.
How you liking working in pharmacy so far?
Yeah, when I worked in a pharmacy for not even a week, and they were asking me about my license. I'm like, no, I don't have my license. I'm waiting on to get heard from a meeting. But overall, the time that I did working there, it was really busy. It made time go by. It's different because the customers, they be so angry and they expect for us to just like rush and speed through it when we can't. It's time. But overall, it was an experience. It's fast, makes the time go by, and I enjoyed the time that I did work in the pharmacy.
Kind of described it exactly. And people they want it yesterday. So how old are your children? I mean.
My son just turned 13 December 1st, and I have a 6-year-old daughter.
Okay. Your hands are full.
Yeah.
Any other questions on this candidate?
Motion to approve.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion passes. All right, you're on a good path now.
Thank you.
Take advantage of it and keep going with it.
Most definitely.
And that's only if you want to agree with them, though.
I agree. I
Okay.
agree. I agree. Thank y'all so much.
Absolutely. We'll break back until if we have somebody else show up or till our 1 o'clock gets here.